Chris here with some decluttering tips for you. One of the first things that I think is necessary with decluttering is to retrain your brain. Because so often we think, oh, I spent so much money on this thing, I can't get rid of it. I just can't do it. Or, oh, I have this set of china and I have to keep it together even though I only use one or two pieces. And this thing that's broken, it could be fixed. So I want to help you try and think through these things to try and give you freedom to let go of more things. So the first thing I want to help you with is the this could be fixed thing. So yes, something's broken, it could be fixed. It may not even be that hard to fix, but do you need to be the one who fixes it? Are you going to use it if it's fixed? If the answer is yes, then get on it, fix it, use it. If the answer is no, but you feel bad about the waste of it being broken and thrown away, nobody says you have to throw it away. You can donate it. You don't know. Somebody, they might, you could donate it, like put it all in a bag and say, it's like a project or something. Or you could give it to someone that you know would fix it. Just, but you don't have to be the one to hold on to it. Like I've seen hoarders shows too, where there was a guy who kept newspapers because he felt like this is history. I need to hold on to this. Why do you have to be the one who holds on to it? Don't you think that there are copies of these newspapers like at the newspaper office or at the library? They're holding on to them. Why do you have to hold on to it? So think about that. The second thing I want to retrain your brain on is you bought something and now you don't want it anymore, but oh, it's such a waste of money because I spent money on this thing and now I can't get rid of it because I spent so much money on it. Well, let's look at this. Sometimes you can tell yourself, say you bought it 10 years ago. You could tell yourself, okay, well, I've had it for these 10 years, so that's a good long run for having spent the money on it, so I can get rid of it. So there's that. But say you just bought it last week and now you don't want it anymore. Or, let's say 2 months ago, so it's like past the return date. Well, if you look at that and go, but I really don't want this, but I spent this money on it. How do you get around that? Well, how I get around it is by looking at it as an entertainment expense. In other words, if you went out to eat and you spent $50 on a meal, what do you have to show for it? Nothing. But you enjoyed yourself at the time, didn't you? Hopefully. It's the same thing with something you've bought. You bought the thing, it gave you joy when you bought it, you were happy to have it, now you're not anymore. Let it go. It was an entertainment expense. You don't have to hold on to the thing to know that you got enjoyment from it at the time. So just let it go and let somebody else get enjoyment from it. The third tip I have for you has to do with things that come in sets. So for instance, like a Jell-O mold set. Say you only use one or two of the molds, but you don't like the others. But it came in a set. Well, so get rid of the ones you don't use, keep the ones you do use. You bought it. You decide whether it stays in a set or not. I've done this several times. There's no law that you're breaking by breaking up a set. Okay, here's a good example. Books. Say you've got this author wrote this series of books on a certain character, but you only like one book out of the series. Dump the rest of them. Keep the one that you like. And you bought it, so it's yours to decide what to do with. Number 4. Imagine that you're being evacuated. There's a natural disaster going on. What would you take with you? Now, I'm not saying, anything that you wouldn't take with you, you're going to get rid of. Because, for instance, I could not take this with me because how am I going to get this out of the house in a disaster situation? I'm not. But I would not get rid of that because my great-grandpa made that. So I'm just saying, what are the things that are most important to you that you would take with you? So for instance, say you've got a bunch of different things, you would only grab this one and this one. That can give you a new perspective on the other things. And you can say to yourself, well, if I don't love them enough to take them with me in an evacuation, do I love them enough to keep them at all? So, I mean, you might, and that's fine if you do, but it helps change your perspective, helps you to look at things a little bit differently. Another thing that I was thinking of recently that helped me do some more decluttering, I've got another 2 bags ready to go. I looked in my my like makeup drawers and things, and there were things that were in there that I never use, but I just had them because I've always had them. So those are things to look at too. Just because you've always had it doesn't mean you're going to want to keep it. So for instance, I had a bunch of like nail clippers, like I think 3 different nail clippers. Why do I have 3 different nail clippers? If I have one and it breaks, I can go out and get another one, So why hang on to all those? And like there's different things that I had that I never ever used. And I thought, why am I keeping this? So just because you've always had something doesn't mean you have to have it now. You can get rid of it. You have permission. You're the one who decides for yourself. Nobody else. You don't have to ask anybody else's permission to get rid of something that you have that you don't want anymore. Now, tip number 5, mementos. So, when you graduate from school, different school, like 8th grade or 12th grade or college, sometimes you'll get the little tassel, and you can hang on to those if you want, or you can make something out of them, or you can just take a picture of it and get rid of it. There's no law that says you have to keep them, but if you keep it and it brings you joy and you want to display it, you can do that. There are some things though, mementos, say for instance you were collecting, well, like me, I have these pins. I collected pins from different places I've been and so forth. So I put them all on this board rather than having them in a drawer. You can make something out of your mementos and display it, or again, you can take a picture of them and then get rid of them, and you've got the picture, and you can always go, oh yes, this was when I went here, and that's when I did that, and that sort of thing, and that could bring you joy. But you have to decide for yourself what is going to bring you joy from it. Number 6, heirlooms that you don't want. It's always hard to get rid of something that belonged to someone in your family, because in some ways you feel like you're betraying them, or like you're saying that they didn't matter. If you get rid of it, this thing, you like associate the thing with the person so that it becomes intertwined. That's not the case. You need to retrain your brain. That doesn't mean you love that person any less. But again, you can take a picture of the item and keep the picture, or not if you don't even like it enough to take a picture of it. Some antiques that you may have gotten from someone that in your family, you may not have room for it, or it's not to your taste. Like I have something that my great aunt had, and it's huge, and it's dark wood, and dark wood depresses me. I like this color wood back here. So I'm saying goodbye to that piece. And I do feel a little bit bad about it, but if you think about that person too, that person, if it was theirs and they kept it, but what if they didn't? Then you wouldn't have it. What if they had said at some point, I don't like this anymore, I'm going to get rid of it. They could do that because it was theirs. And the same for you. You can do it because it's yours. So it's nothing to do with how you felt about your relative or friend or whoever it came from. it's everything to do with you and what you like. You need to figure out what you like and be true to that. Tip number 7, the someday stuff. Be honest here. If you have a treadmill sitting over here that you never use, you're probably using it as a coat hanger. You throw in your coat over it or whatever, because you figure someday you're going to use it. Be honest with yourself. Will you ever use it? If you're not using it now, what good is it doing you? Just sitting there taking up space. So be honest with yourself. If you think, oh, if I'm not using it now, am I ever really going to use it? And even if you are ever going to really use it, sitting there for however many years it sits there, there could be a newer model that comes out that's even better that you would want instead. So just get rid of this one. And then when you're actually ready to start using one, get one that you will actually use. Tip number 8 has to do with those of you who have families, spouse, children. A lot of times people will just throw things when they get home, and they just throw things everywhere. And if you've been the one picking it up, you need to stop right now. Stop picking up other people's stuff. Yeah, I know you don't want the house to look a mess, but here's how you can deal with that. Get a bin for each family member. Put their name on it. And start training them to drop their things in the bin when they get home instead of just willy-nilly. Then at the end of the day, they take their bin into their room with them and put their stuff away. Along those lines, you can make a game of it. So it's like a 5-minute cleanup. Who can get the most of their stuff put away in 5 minutes at the end of the evening? You could have races. You could have, like, they could get a special privilege if they're the first one done or something. I mean, you don't want them running over each other to do it, obviously. And use your own judgment for how you do this. But, you know, if you make a game out of it, then maybe they'll be more willing to do it. One more thing to think about is the fact that clutter is noisy, in a sense. Empty space brings calm and peacefulness. So if you have clutter everywhere, that's visual noise. And it's not going to help you feel peaceful. So whatever you can do to carve out a space for yourself that's clean and clutter-free and peaceful, you know, that's the most important thing. Okay, so that's all I have for you today on decluttering. Thanks for watching. Please submit any of your decluttering tips in the comments. Let me know if any of this has helped you. I would love to hear from you. So often it's like speaking into the void, and I would love to hear if this is helpful to anybody. So please let me know. If you would like, drop me an email at the email address in the description, and I will send you a list of decluttering tips for you to have on hand. And once again, thanks for watching, and remember to take care of yourself because nobody else will. Bye.